Hi, and welcome to another edition of Plastic Models by a Regular Dude. Today I want to talk a little bit about, do a quick review on Allied Vehicle Accessory Set number 229 by Tamiya. It's a 1/35 scale accessories, fuel cans, fuel drums, bed rolls, duffel bags, etc. And I bought this kit, this accessory set, for an upcoming project I'm doing that calls for a lot of stowage on it. So let me open up the box and take a look at it. Okay, some of you may be asking, why do a review on something as wacky as an accessory set, especially something from Tamiya? Most of the time you see stuff on resin kits and so forth, but it's an inexpensive set, and it was molded in 1998 according to the sprue here, and with that in mind, it is a pretty good set, and I'll explain why. Here's what comes in the box. You get two sprues of identical items and a little decal sheet. And the decal sheet, these are, I guess they're numbers for different types of loads on cargo vehicles, I guess during World War II. But I won't be using those because I'm using it kind of in a different context. So since these are both the same, I'll put one aside and talk about just this one. So as you can see, there are German style jerry cans and there are US style jerry cans. There's US fuel drums. There's some personal stowage items, packs and the like, and also more stowage, tarps, duffel bags, etc. So just starting in one corner, you have these are the caps for the German, the caps and the handles for the German style jerry cans, and the molding on them is quite nice. And the nice thing about, especially about these German jerry cans, is I used some of these on a previous kit. They came, they're from the same time frame as this molding here, but it came with a different set. I think they were accessory items in a vehicle, I can't remember, but the nice thing about them is they're molded very nicely. And the cool thing about the German jerry cans, let's see if I can zoom in on this. On the German jerry cans, there is, when you glue them together, there is a seam on the outside of the can. And those are supposed to be there, so you don't have to worry about filling. You just glue them together, line them up as best you can, make sure the bottom's kind of lined up. Whoops, I'm sorry. That was the US ones. Here we go, German ones. There's like a little lip in here, so when you glue them together, there's going to be a seam, a groove, all the way around this fuel can. And when you glue them together, just make sure they're lined up, and that seam is supposed to be there, so you don't have to worry about filling any seams or anything like that. The cap itself, fuel filler cap, goes on one side of this stamped portion of can, and then the handles fit right on top. And in gluing them together, when I did them before, using something like Tamiya extra thin cement, or any suitable really thin cement, whenever you put the cement on there, it really kind of welds it into place, so you don't end up with like little lumps or seams or anything. It fits together really nice. So those are pretty nice. The fuel drums, you can probably see, let me try and zoom in just a little bit more. There is molding on the top. It says USA QMC, which is quartermaster core, and some very fine numbers. Then of course the main spout here, and then a vent spout here. So They really are nicely molded. The cans themselves, they show a little bit of wear. You can see imperfections like dents and so forth. So the only thing you really have to do whenever you put these together is fill a seam line along one side, which, you know, again, I've built some of these before and they fill in really nicely. The next item, let's go over to the US jerry cans, which are these here, US, very nice. Now on these, they fit together really well and they're really smooth when you get them done, but there are seam lines. But something to consider and to keep in mind when assembling these is on one side, and I can't remember which side it's on, if it's on this side or this side, but on this lower portion here, that is one stamped piece of metal that's wrapped around and welded along one side. Okay, then the bottom is welded on and the top is welded on. So you would have to sand smooth a seam on one side and then sand smooth the seam that runs along the top of this part, because this top part here is made out of one piece stamping. So something to keep in mind whenever you're doing the US jerry cans. But they're nice when you get them done and they look the part. Again, here are the filler caps and the handles. Same thing applies with these. They fit together really nicely. The detail on the filler caps is very nice. So when you get them done, they make a really good representation of 1/32 scale or 1/35 scale fuel cans. Next is the Stowage personal gear. Now, one thing I like about these, on older kits, if you had a number of items that were like the same type on a sprue, they would all look identical. Same wrinkles, same bulges, whatever. On these three are the same type of pack. I can't remember the actual military nomenclature for it, you know, whatever the number is, but they're the same type of packs. But this one here is bulged out, like it's got something large inside, and the flap is partially gapped open. This one here, pretty flat. This one here, pretty flat, but kind of sagging on one side. So they're the three same items, but they all look different, which is nice because you don't end up with that uniformity, which can really monotonize, you know, detail work on a kit or diorama or whatever. There are seams along the outside edges, but they're really easily cleaned up, and with a little bit of careful sanding and filing, you can get rid of those. And I think, you know, not quite, but almost as good as some of the resin stuff I've seen. The detail on the buckles and stuff like that might not be quite as crisp, but it would give an adequate representation of personal gear. Here's some more items right here, same thing. Bags of some kind. They almost look like M1928 field packs. That's kind of what they look like, but each one is molded just a little bit differently, so they look unique, each one of them. These things here, I don't know what those are, but I'm going to have to find out. But whatever they are, they look good. It's kind of weird. Not sure what that is. Then there's some more. There's like rolled up tarps, a duffel bag sitting on end, more tarps, bedrolls, whatever they are, and then a nice duffel bag here. Now I had a resin duffel bag from Verlinden, and the strap detail was a little bit better than this, but not a whole lot. So, you know, comparing to resin stuff, yeah, the resin stuff's going to be a little bit finer in detail, a little crisper, but sometimes you might have some air bubbles and stuff like that. These, again, give a nice, adequate representation of personal stowage and field gear and stuff. So, you know, they look really good. And once they're weathered and painted, they look pretty good. And this is going off past experience on some of this stuff. So basically that's it. That was just a quick review on the Allied Vehicles accessory set. And one of the main reasons I did this, you know, again, I'm going to be using this on a kit pretty soon, but I couldn't find any reviews on this anywhere, you know, either written or video reviews. So I thought I'd do a video review, and it might be helpful if they're looking for an inexpensive alternative to, say, resin for vehicle stowage. So once I get this stuff assembled and painted and ready for my project that's coming up that I'm going to use it on, I'll do another quick video, and I'll, you know, interlink the two, this video and the other one, so you can see what they look like after they've been you know, painted and weathered and all that. So anyway, that is it. That is a quick review on the Allied Vehicles accessory set number 229 by Tamiya, 1998 molding. And I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions or comments, as always, leave them below in the comments section. And thank you for joining me for another edition of Plastic Models by Regular Dude.